G'day Bomber fans, we have some delistings to talk about. We have said farewell to a further 2 more players, rounding it up to 7 out the door, not including the traded players. A lot of movement at the club. There's a bit of controversy surrounding one of these players. I have some opinions many of you won't like, so let's get into it. We are going to start with Pat Voss because this evoked the biggest outcry from the Essendon population. He posted a rather cryptic or not so cryptic story on his Instagram before the club's announcement, thanking the club for his time pretty much. Pretty standard. Many are angry about this. Many up in arms. I'm going to piss a few of you off, but I really don't mind it as a call. In fact, I'm going to go one step further. I actually think it's the correct decision from the club. I can already feel the angry comments coming in, but to be a good team, you have to be ruthless, and I think Pat Voss is a very good State League player, a best and fairest winner for us, but he has not shown enough quality in the VFL to play at the top level against the best players in the AFL. You look at Gold Coast, they're a bottom 4 club who delisted players that were miles ahead of Voss in terms of quality in the VFL, like full-on miles. Voss was the 13th leading goal scorer in the entire comp this season with 30 goals from 18 games, and as you can see from his stats on the screen, he has kicked 49 goals from his 29 VFL games. To put that into perspective, Brodie McLaughlin kicked more goals than that for Gold Coast's VFL team this season and was delisted with no one really complaining. Chris Burgess kicked 50 goals and was used as trade bait. Marby Ochol kicked 30 from 5 less games and was used as trade bait. There are clubs being way more ruthless than us that are far worse than us. I also think if Voss was going to play, it would have been when we had all our key forwards out early in the year and he was playing good footy. The guy kicked 9 goals from his first 2 games this season, but after that he could only manage 21 from 16. That's not AFL level. He was never going to get a game playing like that. Yes, he won a best and fairest. He played pretty well in a pretty bad Essendon team, but I don't think that just earns you a new contract. You don't see best and fairest winners at state level being drafted left, right and centre, so why does it automatically mean they should stay on a list for winning one? Rhett Montgomery was second in the VFL best and fairest for us, I think, but I reckon that was a no-brainer to delist him as well. I think there is also limited upside with Pat Voss because his biggest asset is his frame. He is a big, strong forward, and that can only get you so far. He's frankly less talented than others on the list. I think Jaiden Hunter has more upside. I said this in a recent video. I think maybe the Q&A this week. I don't think either would be playing AFL footy next year, but I can see more room for improvement from Hunter. In fact, I think Pat Voss, of the 3 players that were out of contract, is the one that I would hesitate the least to delist, because at least Will Snelling has shown he can play AFL footy. Voss, frankly, hasn't even been close to breaking into the team. I think he's been named emergency once or twice. I know it sounds harsh, but you have to be harsh in this industry to succeed. I'm happy with this decision. I would have been more frustrated to see Voss play decent VFL footy for a year next season and get delisted the year after. It gives us another spot to draft another promising player. We talked about our list not being deep enough in certain areas. Keeping Voss would ensure that we lose an option at possibly bringing in another unproven rookie with more upside. Bringing in someone like Nick Martin or Sam Durham from somewhere outside of the draft. That's just the fact of the matter. We thank Voss for his services and hope he can find a career somewhere else, but I'm happy with the decision. And the second player not offered a contract is Will Snelling. I think most are content with this one. The writing was on the wall when we picked up Jade Gresham. He was struggling to be a cemented first team option anyway, but now with Gresham, it's near impossible to see him play close to half a season, even a few games. Gresham, Menzies, Guelphy, Davey, I think they've all leapfrogged him on the pecking order. It's frustrating because Snelling at his best was a proven AFL player. He was great in 2021, and he did it with a really small non-athlete build. He was third in our best and fairest, really great link-up and pressure forward. His stats were superb compared to some of the best in his role, but I feel like a few injuries and patches of bad form between 2022 and 2023 proved he couldn't get back to his best and that there were better options around. It's hard to find a role for him. I really liked Snelling. He was a good AFL player when he was up and about, but we haven't really seen him be at his best for a few years. The delisting makes sense. 65 AFL games, 29 goals, 37 games across 2020 and 2021 when he was one of our more consistent performers. His best, I reckon, was against St Kilda in 2021 when he kicked 2 goals from 23 touches, or I remember the game against Adelaide the year before in COVID when he managed 11 tackles from shortened game time. Hopefully he finds a spot somewhere else or plays with us through the VFL. Same goes for Voss. I would love to see these guys play in the red and black in our reserves side if given the chance, but they are both unfortunately no longer at the club. So what does this mean for Jaiden Hunter? I think we can assume he now stays on our rookie list for an extra year. If he was to be delisted, he probably would have got a phone call already and would be in the articles with Snelling and Voss. Another year for him makes sense. He is the only player we have left out of contract at the club at the moment, and as you can see, not a very large VFL career. He had a stress fracture that kept him out of the team after his second game with us. Mid-season draftee, but I think it makes sense to keep him. An unknown potential grower instead of Voss, who we have a pretty solid idea about after his few years at the club. Now here are the delisted players. Alistair Lord, Kean McBride, Rent Montgomery, Anthony Mankara and James Stewart are the other names. That is 7 delistings, which I think is the amount I said we would go for in an earlier video. It's usually the standard 6 or 7. It means we probably use 3 draft spots and have room for the rookie draft as well. All of these make sense. If I had to choose a player here to keep, maybe Mankara because of his ceiling, but the environment clearly didn't suit him. That was a mutual decision, I reckon. Aside from that, all these players were clearly no longer future prospects at the club. That is all though. Quick little list update, the last until the draft. Again, thank you Voss and Snelling for your hard work at the club. You can say what you want about their skills or athleticism or whatnot, but they gave it a red hot crack for us, and that's all you can really expect from a player. Comment down below what you guys think. Who were you most upset to see delisted? I'm guessing most of you will say Patrick Voss. Like, subscribe, and go Bombers.